forever. Not dealt with us according to our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is his loving kindness towards those who fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far he has removed our transgressions from us. Just as a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. For he himself knows our frame. He is mindful that we are but dust. As for man, his days are like the grass. As a flower of the field, so he flourishes. When the wind has passed over it, it is no more, and its place acknowledges it is no longer. But the loving kindness of the Lord from everlasting to everlasting on those who fear him, and his righteousness to his children's children, to those who keep his covenant and remember his precepts and do them. The Lord has established his throne in the heavens, and his sovereignty rules over all. But bless the Lord, you his angels, mighty in his strength, who perform his word, obeying the voice of his word. Bless the Lord, all you his host, you who serve him doing his will. Bless the Lord, all of you who works of his. In all places of dominion, bless the Lord, O my soul. And so the psalmist David, who writes and gives us this psalm, praising the Lord for his attributes. And I want us to, again, look at 5 things that we can pull out of this psalm and things that we can be thankful for this Thanksgiving season. And the first one of those is the kernel of forgiveness. Look at Psalm 103 and verse 3. It says, talking about God, who pardons all of our iniquities, who heals all of our diseases, who redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with loving kindness and compassion. We need to remember the great gift of forgiveness. When we stop and think about what it truly means to be forgiven, it's a humbling thing. Let's just dive into this real quick. And you don't have to raise your hand because I can already visualize everybody raising their hand, okay? How many of you have ever acted inappropriate? All of us have we not? Have we not done things that are inappropriate? Things that the Lord can you just see the Lord sometimes just shaking his head and going, Nate, really, you're doing that again? But God is gracious to us. He forgives us of all of our sin. He pardons our iniquity. We have been forgiven by the Lord. And by the way, if God, which he is, God is so gracious and so loving and so kind, if God can forgive us of our sins, should we not be able to forgive one another? I mean, forgiveness. The Bible teaches us to be like Christ, that the word Christian means that we're to be Christ-like. We should forgive one another of our iniquities. We should forgive one another our failures. I can just stand here. I could make a list. I'm not going to, but I can make a list of all the things that I've done wrong in the past 3 or 4 years and just lay them out there. But God has forgiven every one. And see, we need to learn to forgive each other the way that the Lord forgives us. As a matter of fact, when you read this, go back to Psalms 103 and verse 10. Psalms 103 verse 10 says this, that he has not dealt with us according to our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great his loving kindness towards those who fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far he has removed our transgressions from us. As far as the east is from the west. We hear that quoted all the time, but I think it's even greater that it says, as far as the heavens are above the earth, God has forgiven us of our sins. Our transgressions are removed from him. He remembers them no more. We have a tendency to forgive somebody for their sins, but to always lay it to their charge when we see them. That is, we never forget what they've done. The Lord forgives and forgets. He will never hold us accountable to that sin again. When God forgives us of our sin, we are forgiven of our sin. And he says that he throws them into the sea of forgetfulness, that he's not mindful of them anymore. Ephesians 4:32 says this. Ephesians 4:32 says, "To be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake has forgiven you." If we're forgiven, we need to learn how to forgive. And so there's the kernel of forgiveness that we need to apply in our lives, but there's also a kernel of healing. And when we look at this passage in the book of Psalms here, look at 103, again in verse 3, where he says, "Who pardons all of your iniquities, who heals your diseases. He redeems your life from the pit, who crowns you with loving kindness and compassion." God is the only one that can heal us of our diseases. He's the only one that can heal our sick. He's the only one that can take our illness and heal it. Well, Brother Nate, I can go to the doctor. Go ahead. The woman that had the issue of blood for 12 years, she went to all the doctors. And when Jesus confronted her about her touching the hem of his garment and the power went out from him, she said,